Hello, welcome back to our show. It is our final show of the week. Gio and I had marathoned this all by ourselves. All by ourselves. That's why I don't sing. Before we get to our final thoughts, was there anything else you wanted to mention regarding the week's topics that may have slipped your mind or you wanted to add? I mentioned, of course, people who I actually have these people on my team. Michael Fulmer is having a rebound season for Detroit. Find a way to add him. He's only owned in 5% of leagues. That's a pitcher you definitely want to go add. Jake Junis, I should have mentioned specifically, he's owned in less than 10%. And then finally, a long reliever who's going to be turning into a starter, Ryan Weathers for the San Diego Padres, owned in 5% on the nose of ESPN leagues. He's somebody you want to add. And in terms of relievers, because this is where I live, Kendall Graveman.
There is one more person I forgot to mention on my list, and you know this name very well. His name is Wilson Ramos, who is, keep in mind, catchers don't really hit for average. We all know that.
But he's one of them that does.
he's like one of them that does. And he's only batting .256, but 6 home runs, 7 runs, 8 RBIs. He is in 50% of teams he's currently rostered on. Yeah, exactly. He's doing that. If I did not have Wilson Contreras, I'd pick him up.
If I didn't have Yadier Molina, I'd pick him up.
Exactly. And if you don't have him, you pick him up. You're welcome.
You heard him.
I'm watching you, person.
Oh, yeah, we see you through here. You think we don't have FBI friends? We see you.
Yeah.
So the Blues Brothers will sign off today with our final thoughts. And, of course, sign off for the week as well with our final thoughts. So my final thoughts, to completely preface this, it's on the lighter side. And it's about the NHL Trade Deadline, which I had talked about the past 2 weeks and setting it up. We got ourselves quite an active deadline. Not many big moves, of course, until the end. And then the end came, and what a flurry of moves it was. Starting with the Anaheim Ducks acquiring Hayden Fleury from Carolina in exchange for Yanni Hakanpää, another defenseman, and a 6th-round pick. Personally, I don't really agree with that move. I think Carolina's a little nuts to be trading Hayden Fleury. The night before the deadline, Tampa Bay having one of their cap-strapped but still important trades, acquiring David Savard from rival Columbus. The Penguins somehow managed to acquire Jeff Carter for conditional picks in 22 and 23. How are the Penguins able to get these players for such cheap? Like, I understand that the Lightning have fleeced the Rangers in the past. That is crap. Jeff Carter was an important member of that Kings team. How were they able to get the veteran presence that is Carter? The veteran presence alone is worth more than 2 conditional picks. That's insane. And now he's their third-line center. The Penguins are going for it. Good for the Penguins. But what is LA thinking? And then, of course, Boston acquires Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar for scraps, utter scraps, a 2nd-rounder and Anders Bjork. I have no words for that. I don't know how Boston got away with that one. And then finally, you have the actual trade of the deadline. Washington acquiring Anthony Mantha for Jacob Vrana, Richard Panik, a 1st-rounder, and a 2022 2nd-rounder.
Overpay. My God.
Let me just tell you something. Jacob Vrana took Andre Burakovsky's job. Why are you trading him? The stupidest decision this team has made was not re-signing Barry Trotz and instead going for Laviolette. And I'm not a Caps fan. I hate the Capitals. But this is the dumbest trade I've ever seen them make. Jacob Vrana took a veteran's job, and he's like 22 still. 24, I think. 24. There's no reason he should be traded just because he's having a down season for such pittance as Anthony Mantha. All this does is give you a bigger body, and you lose 2 of your better skill players. Washington was not going to win. The best they could hope for was an early exit for an earlier round pick, because they're clearly going to the playoffs, because there are 4 teams in the East that are worse than them. They don't even have that to look forward to now because they just traded it away. And then a second rounder the next year just because. Why not? It reminds me of the time that we traded away Sam Bradford, as the Eagles traded away Sam Bradford for a first-round pick. It was a complete fleece job by the Eagles. This was a complete and total fleece job by Detroit. And as a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, congratulations to Steve Yzerman, for making that trade. That is a good job on you for picking their pockets. Congratulations. The rebuild starts next season. Well done. I look forward to you guys going back to the playoffs, even though I hate Detroit because I love Yzerman.
You might be realizing there's something major that happened in baseball this week that we have not spoken about yet. That's because I wanted to save it for my final thoughts. The Mets situation. Now, granted, they've turned it around on the diamond, and they are currently in the lead in their division as of this recording, but there are some reports by The Athletic that had multiple employees going within the Mets organization to complain about inappropriate workplace behavior. One of the people that was accused was David Newman, who is the current Chief Marketing, Content, and Communications Officer, rehired by the team last year. More than a dozen people told The Athletic that the Senior Vice President of Human Resources and Diversity was aware of complaints of harassing language and actions without action being taken against the perpetrators. This includes sexist comments by former owner Jeff Wilpon and former manager Mickey Callaway. There was also rumors that Sandy Alderson told The Athletic that the portrayal was unfair and that not every instance involving men and women in the workplace is a capital offense. Every time something happens, he said, it doesn't mean somebody has to be fired. If people are making sexual harassment complaints or inappropriate conduct, you take action. This is a serious offense. This is the same team that hired a manager that was sending inappropriate pictures to women, unsolicited. Same goes for their former GM, who was doing it with the Cubs years ago, before he even got hired by the Mets. And the fact that Sandy Alderson, who's running baseball operations for this team, is aware of this stuff and not doing anything is a huge concern. This is just unacceptable behavior. This is why women are afraid to speak out against this stuff, because people are assumed to believe that it's not true. They're immediately blackballed. And that shouldn't be the case. It's common sense. I know I keep on saying it's common sense, but I gotta etch this into the minds. It's not right. And Sandy Alderson still being employed at this point, saying this stuff. And then even another person that was sending inappropriate text messages and then giving a woman an unsolicited back rub who's still employed by the team. I get you need to make your investigations known and you got to do this stuff first, but maybe you could suspend them for the time being. That might be something you can do at least to see if there's something there. If not, you just, allegation was false, you move on. But to not do anything at all, to just act like it's just another day in baseball activities, it's ridiculous. And it's only fair because your owner is an ex-convict. I hate the fact that, I want the Mets to be good, but can we not forget that Steve Cohen was almost sent to jail and he had to pay billions of dollars in fines just to not go to prison? When you have an owner that's got a very sketchy past, having sketchy leadership in the office, it kind of correlates. I hope the Mets do something about this. They were quick to remove Porter when they found out about his unsolicited pictures to women journalists a while ago. After the comments that Sandy Alderson made recently about all this, they should be quick to suspend him or fire him.
That will do it for our shows this week. Gio, thank you very much for being here and running through this with me. I always appreciate your time and effort and energy. We'll be back next week, hopefully with more than just us. And if not, we certainly know we can hold down the fort by ourselves. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.